I'm Josh Gibson, and today I will be talking about the negative impacts of plastic straws on the ocean and marine life. I know that we are not in San Diego, but we all were. And being in San Diego, we were able to experience the spectacular marine life, whether it be the surf and turf burritos from Senor Pancho's or the beaches. But we've all experienced it. And being from the Bay, I've definitely lived and grown around the beach and participated in a lot of beach cleanups. And being able to see the amount of trash that flows and into the ocean and then that comes out has really changed me. And being able to see that, I see that eliminating plastic straws is a step in the right direction. And in this speech, you'll discover the negative impacts that these straws have on marine life, the throwaway society that propels the use of these plastic straws, and the alternatives to it. Um, First off, like any other plastic, um, these plastic straws, once they're in the ocean, break down into these microplastics. And these microplastics, once eaten by these animals, they start to get a little sick and then pass away. And according to strawlessocean.org, these um, uh, the mortality rate for specific plastics cause a mortality rate of above 50%. And um, this is something that's so big considering that the oceans are um, one of our biggest ecosystems. Um, Secondly, these straws that are recyclable aren't recycled properly. And this is because these straws often, um, when getting to the recycling plant, are mismanaged. And when they go through the processors, since they're so lightweight, end up as being seen as garbage and eventually go to the dumps where they don't decompose because they have such a long um, lifespan. And another big problem with this is that they're also starting to affect us because there's being reports that show that plastics are starting to build up in us because the things we eat and the things we drink are containing plastics. For example, according to orbmedia.org, 94% of our water has some sort of trace of plastics. And it's no longer just a problem for wildlife, but it's starting to become a problem for us. And though most people agree that having plastic in the ocean isn't something that's good, it's generally a bad thing, um, but we continually produce more waste than any other country per person, and it keeps happening. And this is because of the throwaway society in America. And this can be shown in our straw. For example, with the straw, you only use it very, maybe like, you don't use it as often. And since you don't use it as often, you're willing to pay a little extra just so you can throw it away and not have to deal with it after you use it. But you don't do that with the fork, because if you use the fork, you'd eat it up, you'd use up all your forks very fast. And so, since you're willing to pay the little extra just so you don't have to deal with it, that's what our throwaway society is. And since we solve our problem by throwing it away, it results in it just ending up in the oceans and yeah. And the biggest problem with that is with human error. While it's being disposed of, it doesn't end up in the correct place. Because once it's on the side of the street or when it's being littered blatantly, it all ends up going to the ocean, whether it be on the street going to a storm drain, which goes straight to the ocean, or just being on the beach and a wave catching it. But it's all resulted in, most of it is from human error. And though in extreme cases where straws are necessary for hospitals to treat people with major physical needs, um, plastic straws often win out because hospitals don't want to use reusable ones because they don't want to clean them on top of the bunch of other stuff they have to clean. And plastic straws are much cheaper than the average biodegradable one. And though there are a lot of barriers to this, there's a lot of solutions to it as well. The two main ones being um, using alternative straws and or just cutting out straws entirely. And using alternatives like biodegradable ones or reusable ones, um, they feel and function the same way as a regular straw. And if we were to switch from plastic straws, the amount in the oceans would be much less. And option number two would be to cut them out completely. And this would mean just not using straws at all. And since straws are seen as a tool of convenience, you don't use it that often, a lot of people are getting behind it because it's such a small gesture in this whole, compared to like plastic bags where people use it all the time. And since such a small gesture, people are able to get around it. And the things that you can do is for you just to follow and not use straws. And this could be using reusable ones, biodegradable ones, but it starts with you. And if you can't do it, then how can you expect other people to? And on the other hand, plastic is decided on how it's used city by city. So on a very local level. Like some cities require you to pay for a plastic bag, while others are able to just give it to you. And since it's done at such a local level, your voice can be heard. And since it's such a small thing, your representatives are willing to represent you. So at the end of the day, I hope you understand that plastic straws is a right step in the right direction, and that its negative impacts on on marine life are because of the society we live in and our throwaway society, and that there are many alternatives to it, and that I hope that if you really want to see Nemo 2 with Squirt and Crush, I hope you stop using plastic straws. Thank you.